Alright guys, so with this question, it does require a little bit more work. You notice how this is no longer a degree 2, this is a degree 3 polynomial. So that means that it's going to require a little bit more work, like using the rational zero theorem or looking at the graph to see what my zeros are. So when I looked at my graph, I knew that one of my zeros was at -1. So I'm going to plug -1 using synthetic division into this equation. So I have 3, -3, -7, +7, -6, +6, and 0. And then when I looked at my graph also, I saw a 0 at 3. So I have 3, 9, -7 plus 9 is 2, +6, and 0. So right now I have a 0 at -1, +3, and whatever 3x plus 2 gets me, which is -2/3. So what I'm going to do is very similar to what I did with the last question, okay? So I'm going to make a number line, and I'm going to put these numbers on my number line. -1 is the furthest. Then I have -2/3, and then I have 3. So I'm going to choose a number that is to the left. So I'm going to plug in -2. A number in between is -0.75. A number in between these two numbers I chose was 0. And a number greater than, I just plugged 5 into this equation. So what I'm doing with each of these values is plugging it into this inequality up here. Okay? So when I plug in -2 into this equation, I get -20. Is -20 less than or equal to 0? Yes, that is a solution. Now I look at -1. When I plug -1 in, I got 0. 0 is less than or equal to 0, so that is a solution. When I plugged in -0.75, what I got was 0.234. Now, is that smaller than or equal to 0? No. So it looks like there's not any solutions between these two numbers. Because when I plug in -2/3, I get 0, which is less than or equal to 0. So that is true. So now I'm going to plug 0 into this inequality. So right now, all right, let's figure out what I have right now. I know that x is smaller than or equal to -1. Okay? The reason why I know that's true is because -1 makes the inequality true, and -2 makes this inequality true, which means that anything to the left of x equaling -1 makes it true. So now I plugged in -2/3, I got that. 0 is less than or equal to 0. When I plug 0 in, I get -6, which is less than or equal to 0. So that does make that true. When I plugged 3 in, I got 0, which is less than or equal to 0. So that's a solution point. And then when I plugged 5 in, I got 5. And 5 is not a solution point because it is not smaller than 0. So I know that x is less than or equal to 0, and it looks like I have a compound inequality here about my x values can be between -2/3 and 3. So it looks like x can be smaller than or equal to -1. That would make this inequality true. And then any x value between -2/3 and 3 make this inequality true. This is my next question. You guys are going to try this one in a second, but this is the solution you guys should get. And I will see you guys later.